So kind of cool, got three different trucks. We've got the 2.7 liter Turbomax, the 3 liter Duramax diesel, and the traditional 5.3 liter V8. Elevation bench seat, elevation with the center console, and an SLE with the standard bench seat. So I'll be real curious. We're gonna do a drive comparison on all three trucks. This truck has a really unique interior color. You don't see this very often. I actually don't mind it. And at first I almost thought it was leather, kind of interesting. So it doesn't look bad. Let's see where the payload is on the 5.3 truck. Pretty high actually, 1,844 pounds. This truck has the spray and bed liner. You can see it's got the inverter 400 watt generator in the rear, LED light in the box. None of these three trucks have the actual multi-flex tailgate, but all three trucks do have the steps in the bumper. The SLE nor the elevation package gets you the dual exhaust out of the rear bumper. I personally don't mind that. This truck does have the splash guard. There's not a huge difference. I mean, you can see you got a little bit more contour, but from the factory, it's actually got a pretty decent splash guard. Also, you got three different sorts of steps. So you've got the flat with the chrome, and you have the real nice entry for the bed here, whereas you got the flat round step there. And then you've also got the black flat with the step to get in the rear as well. Now this is a super basic elevation package, so you don't have the rear sliding rear window, you don't have the splash guards, lower cost side steps. This is bench interior, but it does have some really nice floor mats. It doesn't have the Bose premium speaker system, no sunroof. What I like in the GMC truck, even at the lower trim level, is you still do get the storage in the rear, which is nice, and you do get the cup holder in the rear seat. Really good storage. It's just got a really nice tray underneath here, which is nice. USB A and C with a 110 volt in the rear. Nice door covering. Now let's compare this to one step higher interior package on the elevation. You notice your side doors, not much difference there. You do have the Bose speakers. You've got the center console. This truck also does not have the sunroof, but it does have the rear sliding rear view. Looking in the second row, gonna have similar storage here. Then you have the storage in the back row, USB A and C. Now this one does not actually have the 110 volt. Let's do a little cold start of the 2.7 liter Turbomax in the 2024 GMC Sierra 1500. Nice and quiet powertrain. Pretty cold day here in Michigan. So for this comparison, I'm actually gonna mix it up a little bit on my drive loop. I'm gonna do my traditional loop, which is the 18 miles, and that's pretty standardized now that I'm doing with a few different brands, but I'm also going to add in a little bit extra of 35 to 50 mile per hour driving, which is gonna give a total of 30 miles. So then you can kind of see the differences where you'll see some of these powertrains do better than some of the others. Reset that, reset best score. There we go. So first acceleration, feels pretty similar to obviously the Silverado 1500 also. I mean, it's the same engine. It's just this is in the GMC, so I'm sure, believe it or not, even though this is the same engine and a similar truck, I bet there's some little nuances around this truck versus being the GMC versus Silverado, because I noticed there's a 1 mile per gallon difference in fuel economy between the two trucks. So right off the bat, this interior feels pretty familiar. It's really easy to like the new GMC Sierra interior. It's beautiful. I mean, this is definitely the nicest generation GM truck interior. And to be fair, I would say this right now is class best half-ton interior. What I like about the GMC interior, besides just the overall look, and I think it looks really sharp and flows well together, is the ergonomics are pretty decent. Really good comfort spots for your elbows and the soft points inside of the interior. But the thing now, I've driven a dozen or so of these new trucks. I don't hear any creaks or rattles. Everything feels really solid. Really nice steering wheel also in the Sierra 1500. We're gonna do something a little bit different today. I'm gonna be having 2 trips going. That's gonna add about an extra 12 miles onto this loop. And then I'm going to reset this one, which will be our standard loop for today. Let's see what we think about the 2.7 liter Turbomax in the Sierra 1500. Acceleration, very similar to the Silverado Turbomax. I actually like this gauge display a little bit more on the GMC. The layout in general in the new Sierra interior is just great. I like the dash layout, the colors. Everything feels very comfortable. This is a high value price point truck. You still get the heated steering wheel, heated seats, which is nice. Well, this loop looks probably pretty familiar to you. This is my standard, approximately just shy of 18-mile loop that I try to do with all these trucks, just for comparisons and try to have as much equal to equal as you can. The Turbomax is very well suited on the highway. You know, we're doing 71 miles per hour right now and hovering right about 1,700 RPMs. Fuel economy so far, not bad. Ride comfort, really good also. This truck rides and drives really nice. Road and wind noise is really quiet on the new GM trucks. They used to be pretty loud in the interior going down the road, but now I bet they're some of the quieter trucks in their class, if not the quietest. And this is just a lower trim level truck also. This isn't Sierra SLT or a Denali or Denali Ultimate trim. Tire noise, non-existent. Steering feel feels really good. Pedal feel, brake feel. In the seats are not uncomfortable. I know there's been some people make some mention of the seats not being comfortable, but I don't notice anything. For at least for my size, they feel pretty decent. We're averaging about 18, 19 miles per gallon right here at about 71 miles per hour. At the halfway point now, this is I want to say the 4th or 5th 8-speed of the 2nd generation I've driven, and it shifts great. I see no issues with it. Very smooth, no issues there. If you didn't hear the engine, you would never know this is the 4-cylinder. That's the only giveaway that you can tell this is a 4-cylinder engine, because the performance of this engine feels great. It's got really good low end power. It feels as strong, if not stronger. Like, I'm accelerating right now and I gotta be in like 8th gear. It doesn't show the gear I'm in specifically, but you can just feel the low end torque. It's very good. So this is the same stretch of the highway as I've done other trucks at, and you can see at 71 miles an hour on a flat, we're at about 22, 21 miles per gallon. Not bad. So let's see how this feels when this kicks in. Pretty smooth. I've noticed now with the Silverado and the GMC variant, you can hear like a sound inside of the truck. It almost sounds like a relay clicking to turn the stop start feature on and off. Not a big deal. The function works really well, saves you fuel economy. I still think it's worth it, in my opinion. If you're doing a lot of highway driving or rural driving, I don't think it really has much of an impact in saving for fuel economy. But if you are doing some city driving, it's pretty noticeable, because I've noticed this on some of my trucks. There's a big difference for the fuel economy impact. As far as perceived vibration or feeling when the engine turns on, with the start stop, nothing noticeable there. Pulling in to finish up our first loop, 18.1 miles and 19 miles per gallon. So that's not bad. We'll see how the rest of the trip ends now. So if you want to see where the Turbomax engine shines, it's right at these speeds. I've now noticed this after driving a few. 52 miles per hour, 34 miles per gallon, 30, 32 consistently. Pretty impressive. Pulling back into Championship GMC. Appreciate them giving me the opportunity to review these trucks for you. All right, there's the final 30 miles, 20.3 miles per gallon. I think that's really good, considering that's what it's rated at, 17 and 18 on the highway. But the standard loop I do, which is right at 18 miles, we're at 19.5 miles per gallon. So it went up almost 1 mile per gallon, 0.8 miles per gallon exactly. That just goes to show the proof of, if you drive at 50 to 55 miles per hour, you're going to get really good fuel economy with this truck. So you can see this has the convenience package, and you can also see it's got the black assist steps for a grand total MSRP of $59,880. All right, now let's take the 2024 Elevation Sierra 1500 with the 3-liter diesel for a test drive. Let's do a little quick cold start. So these 3 liters are pretty known for their efficiency and also known for being really quiet, which is really nice. You can tell this This truck is super quiet. Both these trucks are pretty similarly equipped. The one advantage to this one right here, the blue one, is this one's got a little bit more options, which I'll show you here in a second. I love this Thunderstorm Gray though. That would be my top color choice. Two different running board choices you can see here. This is more of the round tubular. That's more of the flat. I actually probably prefer that one a little bit more, especially because it's got this little bit of an easier step to get inside. So these two trucks are pretty similarly equipped. They're both elevation packages. That being the 3.0 diesel, this being the 2.7 liter Turbomax. I love the Thunderstorm Gray in this. I think it looks awesome. Great color. This is a good looking truck. I also like, it's kind of funny, but I kind of like how it just blacked out, doesn't say anything there. This truck's got the standard bench seating. Also notice standard speakers. Seen the payload, 1,751 pounds. One of the things is elevation has halogen rear taillights, does not have LEDs. You still get the real nice cab corner steps. Nice looking 20-inch wheels. Got the nice protection on the leading edge for rock chips. Nice splash guard from the factory. Just the little things that GM does. Got the nice protection on the front and the rear. All right, now let's check this beast out. One of the things that caught my eye is this elevation package truck actually has the Bose speakers. Let's see what the payload is. 1,693 pounds. Similar power seats. Let's check out the inside. Very similar interior as the other truck. One thing you can notice is this truck is a center console. I prefer this more. This fits my style. Very similar to some of the other trucks we've looked at as far as storage. It's got the magnetic charging, 110, USB A and C, 2 glove boxes, top and bottom. Really nice kind of wood grain through the interior. Looks pretty nice, I don't know if I call it fancy, but it's a little bit more upscale. This one does not have the heads-up display, but it looks like it does have the crash alert sensors. Little nice storage tray up top. Same dual climate control with heated seats, heated steering wheel. This is a nice layout with the integrated brake controller. Got lane keeping, start stop, tailgate drop, global window. No sunroof. It does have a fold down cup holder in the rear with also the storage in the second row. So this truck is rated at 27 miles per gallon on the highway. Be real curious to see how this comes out. So the GMC has all the nice features showing the DEF fluid. Let's go back up. Fuel filter, air filter life, brake pad life, oil life, like that. Driver assistance, tire pressure. You can see we're running at the correct nominal settings for tire pressure. We're gonna reset our trip 1 and we will reset trip 2. All right, let's get started. Here's just some moderate acceleration. You can definitely tell the 10-speed shifts a little bit more than the 8-speed. But actually, I think it feels like it puts this 3-liter diesel in the right spot. We're gonna start our main loop now. We got about 6 miles of 35 to 40 mile per hour driving. Going to reset this. So acceleration wise, definitely makes a little bit more noise than the Turbomax accelerating. And it's a very free revving diesel engine. You know, I'm used to a Cummins and Power Stroke and Duramax. The bigger diesels won't rev up in the higher RPMs like the smaller diesels will. This thing has got some pretty good power, and I'm really curious to see how the fuel economy on this compares for this loop. Coming up to the halfway point. So far, drive impressions doing the Turbomax back to the 3.0 Duramax. You can tell for sure the Duramax thrives in the highway speeds. It's just got so much low-end power. And you could also notice that the engine felt more comfortable at like 74 to 75 mile per hour, whereas it felt like the Turbo Boost felt a little more comfortable. It seemed more complacent around 70 miles an hour. 70 miles an hour, get about 22, 23 miles per gallon. I'm really curious to see when we come up to this stop here, if the start-stop kicks in this time. Nope, it won't still kick in. So unfortunately, and fortunately, so this is a real-world comparison. And the truck is in a regen right now. So the good news to this is kind of showing you the impacts to regen. And also the good news to this is it's still really good. Even though it's regenning, you can see this truck is still getting phenomenal fuel economy. All right, there we go. 27.4 miles per gallon for the 18.2 mile loop with the 3.0 Duramax. Not bad. So we'll finish the last part of the leg, which will get us right to around 30 miles total for this fuel economy loop. But I'm impressed with the 3-liter diesel. You know, this is the last half-ton diesel available in the market today, and it's a pretty good choice. I don't think you could really go wrong. It really just depends on your use case. You know, there's a lot of good options. If you do a lot of highway miles, I think this is where this engine really shines. It's just the nature of the diesels. You're right in their perfect RPM zone on the highway to get the best fuel economy and the most relaxed experience. It's all in what you want. Do you want a V8? Do you want a 4-cylinder turbo? Do you want a twin turbo V6? Do you want natural aspirated V8s? Just all depends on, like I said, your use case, your towing, long-term durability, you know, city driving, highway, rural driving. That's why it's great that these manufacturers give so many different options to the consumers. I've been driving this truck almost 40 minutes and the start-stop finally engaged. I'm curious, I'm gonna look into this and see what that means. If that means the truck has been through a regen, because I thought that it was going through a regen because I noticed the fuel economy dropping a little bit on the highway and I could never get the start-stop to engage. But there it goes. Pretty smooth, the way it comes on and off. No issues there. For reference, I'm getting about 36 miles per gallon at 53 miles per hour. And at the same speed, the Turbomax was getting about 37, 38 miles per gallon at 52 miles an hour. And actually even up to 42, 45 miles per gallon. Just pulling back into Championship GMC. Let's see where this thing ends up. Total trip, 27 miles per gallon for 30 miles. Not bad at all. The more I drive the little 3-liter diesel, the more I'm impressed. All right, so let's look at the window sticker. 2024 Sierra 1500 elevation. Dynamic blue metallic with the 3-liter diesel and a 10-speed automatic. Options wise, you see the diesel preferred package. You've got the max trailering package, really nice. That gives you the beefed up rear axle. 4-inch black assist steps, center console. I really like that option for $600. Spray and bed liner. You've got the splash guards. I didn't realize that's an accessory. That's really nice. 7,300 pound GVW for a total of $67,000. All right, let's do a cold start with the 5.3 liter. Sounds awesome. 5.3 sounds great. One of the things I noticed right off the bat is I like this little bit of satin finish on the grill. Looks pretty sharp. What's amazing to me is when you look at the front of this truck versus the front of that truck, they're both thunderstorm gray, but they look so different. And it's just because the chrome and the accents, how much different it looks. Also, a thing I noticed with the SLE in this package is you don't get the LED fog lights down in the bottom of the bumper, but you do still have the tow hooks. Some of the trucks in the market, surprisingly, don't have tow hooks anymore, which blows my mind. I think it's the Toyota Tacoma and maybe the Tundra. They don't have tow hooks. Kind of odd, but that's their choice. Also, another thing is this doesn't have LED taillights, very much like the Elevation. Very similar as far as options. These are all three of these trucks are 4-wheel drive. Okay, let's look at the window sticker now. The 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 SLE. This is the Thunderstorm Gray with the 5.3 and the 10-speed. Here's some of the different options here. We've got the preferred package. You've got the chrome assist steps, spray and bed liner. You've got a little bit of an upcharge for the Thunderstorm Gray. All-weather floor mats, and then just your standard rear axle for a total of $62,140. This is gonna net you 15 in the city, 19 in the highway with 17 mix. It's gonna be real interesting to see how this does for fuel economy. We'll go into our settings and reset everything. So in general, the interior of the SLE versus the Elevation, very, very similar. I did notice something. The rear seats on this do not have the storage in the second row, and it also doesn't have the cup holders, but it does still have a sliding rear window and the LEDs in the roof for the cargo area. Still have the glove box for the front. This is a very interesting in color interior. This is called the dark walnut. So you've got your dark walnut here, and you've got the slate that runs around the side of the doors here, and then you've got the dark walnut steering wheel. Let's look at our drive modes here. So you still have the 4 different drive modes: terrain, off-road, sport, and normal. We'll be doing normal for the road trip. You have 2 high, 4 high, and auto. This does not have the 4 low option. You do have automatic driver's window, but not the other 3 windows. No memory seats in this model. Electric parking brake, nice. Very similar, interior wise is identical to the other truck. Same screen, same IP, all the same instrumentation here. Being the bench, obviously, you have a little bit difference in this area. It looks very similar to the Silverado bench interior we did. You got USB A and C there, which is nice, and it doesn't have the Bose speakers. Here's another thing I really love about the GMC gauges. You can change your layout. This is just the coolest thing. So check this out. So you go display layout. You can go with the classic theme, which is your traditional gauges, which on the left gives you your speed, on the right gives you your RPM. You can go progressive, which is a little bit different style of gauge layout. And then you've got digital, which is just, let me see, RPM. If I raise it up, no, it doesn't even show, okay? And then you've got clean. We're gonna do in this one, I think we're gonna do digital. Here's another thing I really like, check this out. If you go lower gauges, you can change. Now check the lower gauges out. So if we go maximum, it gives you the maximum. You got engine coolant on the left, you've got fuel in the middle, battery on the right, as well as oil pressure. Now let's go to the medium. You notice you've only got 2 gauges, coolant and fuel, and then minimum is just fuel. I like all of the ability to change display and all the information. This is where I think GM has done a great job. They really let you customize this stuff, which is great. Okay, we're gonna reset our fuel economy for both trips now. I'm noticing I'm not getting the auto start stop to work on this truck either. I'm wondering if it's gonna take a while, like the 3.0 Duramax, for the start stop to work. Okay, we got the first part of the loop complete. We're going to reset trip 1. Trip 2 still going. All right, let's look at acceleration here as getting onto the highway. 5.3 liters, not bad. Makes decent mid-range power in that 1800, 1700 to 2300 RPMs. One of the things I really like about the GM trucks is the side mirrors. I think they have a great view, and the little side mirror is awesome also. I wish others had that decent of a mirror as just the standard option. Okay, nearing the halfway point, and we are going to see how we're doing. So far, some of the impressions in driving the 5.3 in a non-off-road package. Drives nice. It's got very decent mid to low end power. I'm personally a little bit more of a fan of the 6.2. The power is to me pretty noticeable, and I don't see much downside to the 6.2 over the 5.3. They seem to get pretty similar fuel economy, but a pretty noticeable gain in performance with the 6.2 for fuel economy. Okay, so we did get the start stop to work now, and we're about 20 miles into the trip. There we go. Very smooth. I would have to say the 5.3 is the smoothest for start stop that I've noticed of all the different GM engines. Now, I don't recall the 6.2 liter, how that one compared, but it's definitely smoother than the 2.7 or the 3.0. When the engine kicks on, there's barely any noticeable perceived vibration in the vehicle when the engine kicks on. Finishing up the highway loop right now. This is a really nice truck to drive. 5.3 does pretty good, and it doesn't seem to struggle with any of the slight grades. It can hold 10th gear overdrive on the highway, which is nice. Fuel economy is not bad. Road noise, interior comfort, no issue. Pedal feel, steering feel, brake feel, seat feel, I don't notice any different vibration, anything else different with this truck. Start stop, I would definitely give this to the 5.3 liter. It is the smoothest of the powertrains that I've noticed when it engages. Finishing up this part of the trip, let's see where we end up for fuel mileage. So there we go, 19.9 miles per gallon for this loop. Not bad, pretty similar actually to the F-150 with the 5.0. Okay, 50 miles an hour on a flat, looking about 28, 29 miles per gallon at these speeds. Not bad. Okay, finishing up the trip. So 19.7 miles per gallon for the total 31-mile loop. So the question is, which is the best powertrain in the 2024 Sierra 1500?
You know, that's a tough question, and I don't know if there's really a right answer. I think you have to choose on what your use case is and what you're planning on doing. If you're doing more city driving, lower rural speeds, maybe not heavy towing, and you're looking for the best value, the 2.7 liter Turbomax is really hard to beat at $59,000. Or if you're doing more highway driving and heavier towing and you're really focused on a relaxed driving experience, maybe the 3 liter diesel at the $67,000 in the elevation is something you're interested in. I don't think that's a bad choice. You know, some people don't like dealing with diesel exhaust fluid and just some of the maintenance that comes along with the diesel. But it all depends on what you're after. Or do you go with the traditional V8, in this case, the SLE 1500 with the 5.3 liter? It did pretty good on the fuel economy too. And it's got pretty decent low end power. And, you know, the Chevrolet or the General Motors V8s are pretty tried and true. I don't think you can go wrong with that solution either. It's all in what you're after. Really try to think about what your goal is and try to match a powertrain that suits that. Here's 3 different trucks at 3 different prices and 3 different powertrains. GM is really offering a lot here. I want to thank Championship GMC in Brighton, Michigan for the help and doing the reviews. If you have any interest in these trucks, please look up Ashley Walker. She can give you some more information on these. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.